So even though I've posted my review of Spider-Man No Way Home, my written review on this website, I thought I could just say a few words about the movie just in video form and maybe talk a bit deeper about certain things, mention some things I didn't mention in the written review, and just go over, the movie again, just little by little. Now, this was a movie I was really looking forward to, okay? Like everybody else, I like this new Spider-Man franchise. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, Peter Parker. I really enjoyed Homecoming, just to give you an idea of what I thought of the other movies. I really enjoyed Homecoming. I thought Far From Home was actually pretty fun. I actually liked that one quite a bit. My review is on the site as well. And so there was no reason for me to not look forward to this movie. I heard a lot about it. There was so much speculation, leading up to the release of the movie about, who was going to be in it, what were they going to do. The trailer got released and there was some stuff hidden from the trailer. So everyone was like, I bet Andrew Garfield is here. I bet Tobey Maguire is there. And, lo and behold, every kind of speculation that there was turned out to be correct because a lot of the shots and stuff got leaked as well. So the annoying thing about movie releases nowadays is that by the time you see the movie, any secrets that the studios were trying to keep, any kind of surprises are already gone. It's highly unlikely that you go into any kind of big blockbuster movie and you have no idea what's going to happen. Usually, everything gets leaked before, everything's online. Everyone, has all these rumors. Some of them are based on real stuff, some of them not. But you've got everyone talking about the movie before, instantly connected. And if something leaks, everyone's seen it, everyone talks about it, shares screenshots, all that stuff. So that makes this kind of movie, this movie with a lot of secrets, lots of secret cameos in there, very troublesome to approach these days, because it's like you go in and you know exactly what you're going to be seeing. You know what the surprise is going to be at a kind of like a 98%, chance that, you're going to see, the old Spider-Man actors and most of the other villains as well. Yeah, so this movie had a big job to do. This movie was really, really ambitious, and it's done really, really well. At the box office, it made over $1 billion during COVID, which is very, very impressive. God knows what it would have made otherwise. People praising this movie, whether it's, the audience loves it. Critics, I think critics are pretty positive about it. It's a big movie. It's probably, I would say, the biggest, most successful movie of 2021 and 2020, probably, right? It's that big. And I don't think that movie's that good. Okay, as you can tell from my written review, I've only given it like 3 stars. I kind of think I'm being a little bit generous, but at the same time, there's some good parts of this movie. And we're going to start there. We're going to start with the good parts about this movie. I like aspects of this movie, okay? I like a lot of ideas that this movie has. I love the multiverse stuff. I love that Doctor Strange is the one who kind of unlocks this kind of thing. I like, the old characters. I like Doc Ock. I like, not all of them. Well, I spoke too soon there. I like Willem Dafoe, obviously, as the Green Goblin. I'm glad they brought him back. Electro, I didn't like so much in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I thought that Jamie Foxx did a really good job in this movie. Much better Electro in this movie than in Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then they brought in some bullshit. Like, they brought in the Sandman, and they didn't improve him at all. And they brought in the Lizard, and they did not improve him at all. And I'm just like, if you're going to make it so weird that you're bringing back these classic characters, acting completely different than they used to, and also looking completely different than they used to, they literally changed the whole character design of Electro. The whole character design is different. And yet Sandman, who always looked like shit in Spider-Man 3, still looks like shit. And sometimes looks even worse because the actor portraying Sandman, Thomas Hayden Church, wasn't even there. They just reused some old footage of him and just CGI'd him to be there. That's why they don't show the character very much, like in his human form. And I'm just like, bro, if you're not gonna show the human version of Sandman, just don't have Sandman as a character. Bring someone else back. I would have brought, honestly, personally, I would have brought Venom back. I would have brought, Topher Grace Venom back. I don't give a shit. I would have brought him back. Or James Franco, Goblin Jr., whatever his name was. Anyone other than the Sandman, unless you were going to change the Sandman and make him look like awesome. Same thing with the Lizard. The Lizard always looked like shit. At least giving the freaking scientist jacket. You kind of saw it for a second in Amazing Spider-Man. It was kind of cool. But that character design is awful and it still looks crap. And again, you don't see really, Ricifance for most of it. And the parts that you do see him in the movie are just kind of reused old footage as well. So that's disappointing. They just kind of padded this out a little bit where there's really no need for that. But anyway, that was meant to be the good section, okay, of this review. This was meant to be the stuff I'm talking about that's positive about the movie. Look, I'm happy about cramming a whole bunch of cameos. They're not even just cameos. They're like roles in this movie. I'm okay with that. I think it's cool. We've kind of seen it already in Into the Spider-Verse, but it's cool to have a live action, version, I guess. And I really like the idea of bringing back the other Spider-Man actors. I love Tobey Maguire, obviously. I grew up on the original Spider-Man movies. Tobey Maguire is still my favorite Spider-Man, honestly. But I really like Andrew Garfield as well. I thought Sony kind of did him dirty by not giving him like a third movie. That was a bit of a shame, seeing how good Andrew Garfield is in the role. And he was kind of losing me in Amazing Spider-Man 2 a little bit because he didn't really feel like a high school student at all. He felt like way too old for the role, but he won me back in this movie. Andrew Garfield is almost steals this movie. He is that good. He is really charming, really fun to watch in this movie. He's just so much charisma, so much fun. Tobey Maguire, not so much. Tobey Maguire looks like he's enjoying being there, while at the same time not really being that into it. But he showed up, and I respect that. Okay, Tobey Maguire showed up, so that's that's cool. And honestly, the cast is okay. Like, Alfred Molina's cool, Willem Dafoe's cool, Jamie Foxx is cool. So it's nice to see these guys in this movie, okay? I'll just leave it at that. I'll just wrap this section up, okay? Also, there's some good action scenes in this movie. I like particularly the Doctor Strange versus Spider-Man fight in the Mirrorverse. Awesome. Really good. It's one of the best, I would say, one of the best action sequences in all the Spider-Man movies. Just really, really good. For me, it's the action sequence of this movie. It's not very long, but that's what I like about it. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's very simple what's going on. Spider-Man wants this box. Doctor Strange wants this box. They fight over the box. Very simple, cool visuals. It makes the best of Doctor Strange, like the first movie, I guess, the effects introduced in that, and mixes it really well with Spider-Man's capabilities and technology and stuff. I really enjoyed that action sequence. Really, really well done. There's obviously the one that they show in the trailer is the action sequence, Doc Ock versus Spider-Man on the bridge, and that's okay. That's fine. That's not bad. It's just kind of weirdly shot at times, and you pretty much get the whole idea for that sequence in the trailer. There's not many surprises there. Obviously, you even see the Green Goblin showing up. I feel like they didn't need to show that in the trailer, but I think at that point it was leaked already. And there's some of the other like action sequences are kind of fun. I like they're playing with the portals and stuff. That's kind of cool. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I like the beginning part where Peter Parker, Aunt May, and his friend, and freaking MJ were like trying to deal with the aftermath of the big revelation that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. I really enjoyed this part of the movie at the beginning because it creates a really good contrast with a similar scene, which is when Tony Stark at the end of the first Iron Man movie goes, I am Iron Man. You know, it's such a good contrast because that revelation was created kind of a shitstorm in the media, right? But Tony Stark himself was like loving every minute of it. He's like, this is great for my brand. This is great for me. This is great for Iron Man shit. I love it. He embraced it. And it kind of came back to bite him in the ass later on with Whiplash, etc. in Iron Man 2. But at the beginning, he was really enjoying it. And Peter Parker does not enjoy any second of it. From the beginning of when that revelation by J. Jonah Jameson happens, he hates it. And he hates it the whole time. And it actually has a really negative impact, not just on him, but on the people around him, you know. You've got, I believe, like Happy, played by Jon Favreau, gets in trouble with the police. You've got freaking MJ and Ned are not going to get into the school they want to get to because of that. And it's, it's interesting. I really like this part. It feels like Spider-Man. This part feels like Spider-Man, you know? It's like whenever in a Spider-Man movie you see Spider-Man getting hunted by the cops and J. Jonah Jameson is like, you know, sending people to mess him up. That feels like Spider-Man. And this part really felt like, you know, a scene from a Spider-Man movie. Then we go into the Doctor Strange thing, and there's some weird stuff about that. So Doctor Strange has kind of been downgraded a little bit from Sorcerer Supreme because of, basically Wong took over that role. And he's just kind of hanging out in his house, sipping from hot coffee from a mug, just wearing his cape with like an extra layer for warmth. And he's just kind of chilling out. What is with Doctor Strange's hair, though? I don't know how this movie is so expensive, but they can't, like, give Benedict Cumberbatch, like, either a good wig or, like, good, like, makeup for the hair, like, good kind of grayish makeup that looks natural. Because right now, it looks like he literally just grabbed a pot of paint and just, like, you know, why would he do that? I still think Benedict Cumberbatch is a little bit miscast in this role, but he's Doctor Strange. You just have to make do with it. At least get his hair to look a little bit better. Jesus Christ, it looks awful. Anyway, makeup effects aside, so Peter Parker, played by Tom Holland, of course, goes to Doctor Strange asking for a favor to kind of erase the idea from the world that Peter Parker and Spider-Man are the same person, him. So Doctor Strange is like, yeah, I can probably do that. You deserve a break. You deserve, however he speaks, you deserve a break, Peter Parker. That awesome American accent that Cumberbatch came up with. So he starts doing the spell. It's like, and no one will know who you are. And then Peter Parker is like, wait, what about Aunt May? You got to exclude Aunt May. And then he stops the spell, starts it again. And then he does this about like 4 times. Spider-Man's always like, oh, wait, but what about MJ? He's like, all right, fine. Everyone except MJ, Aunt May, Ned, and this guy, you know. And eventually the spell starts fucking up. And the spell starts creating a rift in reality. And Doctor Strange just about manages to contain it. However, it turns out that this rift has created a kind of rift between the multiverses, and you've had people just show up from other universes, like Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, or Norman Osborn rather, and Doc Ock and all the others just show up. And this Spider-Man doesn't know who the hell they are, and he has to fight them, and he tries to piece it together, what's actually going on. And he manages to gather all the villains and bring them to the Sanctum, or wherever, what his name, Doctor Strange is. And Doctor Strange, understandably, is like, you know what? I've contained the spell. I could just destroy it. I could just destroy it, Peter Parker. He could just destroy the spell. And then Spider-Man is like, wait, but if you do that, do all the villains, like, who died in their universe, do they die again? And then Doctor Strange is like, I mean, I guess. And then Peter Parker gets a bug up his ass about this, and he's just like, you can't do that. They're gonna die. And I'm just like, what? And then he's like, I can fix them. then Peter Parker's thing is like he wants to fix these guys and make them into good people. At the look, Doctor Strange is like, that's dumb, okay. But then everyone else around him is just like, yeah, that's kind of good. Aunt May is like, you're making the right decision here, and it turns out to not be the right decision by any standard. All right, it's not the right decision. All the villains become a problem by the end. Okay, but this movie wants to emphasize that no, Peter Parker made the right choice here, the noble choice. It's not the noble choice. It's dumb. I mean, this movie, I expected this movie to be like, well, Peter Parker made another mistake. He's a young guy. He's finally learned from all his mistakes. And now he's like, becoming smarter about things. Not really. Not really. He makes a huge mistake and he pays the price for it. And he really doesn't seem to really learn that much by the end. I mean, he learns to be slightly less selfish because at the end of the day, it's his selfishness wanting his friends and family to know who he is, and breaking the spell and that stuff. That's the thing that comes back to bite him in the ass. So he grows up in that sense. But at the same time, I feel like he should have been smarter after what happened in Far From Home, which he just literally just gave the Tony Stark glasses to freaking Mysterio. Yeah, I expected him to be a lot smarter here. And but the movie emphasizes no, he made the right noble choice because all these villains you see can just change at the drop of a hat because they're victims of science experiments gone wrong. And okay, that's true about Spider-Man, okay? Spider-Man villains are not like Batman villains. Batman villains, very, very difficult to bring them back to the light side of the force. Okay, Batman villains are tough. Okay, there's maybe a couple have managed to get out of it. Okay, and change their lives. The Penguin couple times managed to become good. Poison Ivy salvageable. Harley Quinn salvageable as well. But then there's people like the Joker and Two-Face. They're just kind of lost causes. And all the characters in this Spider-Man movie, though, are just like lions, or like lions with like a thorn in their paw. You just remove the thorn, and they're good guys, and then you put the thorn back, and they're evil again. I don't like that. I don't like how simplistic this all is. You can do that for one of the characters, and that character is Doc Ock. I think you can get away with that because if Doc Ock was transferred from one universe when he was dying to this universe, he was kind of starting to become good again at the end of that movie, okay? He was starting to get away from the power of the tentacles. So I can see that being done with Doc Ock. That made sense, okay? But with all the others, with Norman Osborn, I feel like Norman Osborn is a lost cause. I feel like he's just got... he was not that nice of a guy to begin with. He was kind of a douchebag to begin with. And you can... Willem Dafoe, the way he played the character in the first Spider-Man movie, you sense right away that there's something off about this guy. From the way he treats his son, from the way that he talks to these young people around, he's not on the up and up. This is a dodgy guy who just became very, very, even more dodgy, with the goblin gas or whatever it was. So I don't think that if you just like plug a serum into him, I'm Norman Osborn again. And the same thing with the lizard. I think the lizard would have been way more interesting if he'd actually gone mad. It's like it's more the lizard. You have to approach it a little bit more like Man-Bat in the Batman movies or series or whatever. Man-Bat, it's a very similar story. It's the scientist who's actually a very nice guy who tries to do something good, backfires, and then he becomes, a monster. And but you can't. It's very tough for him to get back to normal. It becomes an addiction, right? And it's not that easy. Spider-Man, you can't just click your fingers, get rid of an addiction like that. For someone like the Lizard, for someone like Electro as well, the power is an addiction. For him to just be like, I really wish I was Spider-Man. Anyway, I don't have my power now, so it doesn't matter. I feel like Electro would lose it if he lost all this power. I feel like Electro would not be as chill as Jamie Foxx plays him at the end. But anyway, so I find this to be a huge flaw in the movie. This very simplistic way of looking at Spider-Man villains, who are, more simplistic villains anyway than Batman villains, for example. But I feel like there was an opportunity to have some depth here. But all the depth that there could be is ripped off every single character in this movie, to the point where this movie just feels like fluff. It just feels like fluff. It feels like a gimmick to get your butt in the seat. Just show you a bunch of cameos, and then you go to the theater and you're like, wow, look at all these guys. And then you leave and you're like, wow, I saw these guys. That was awesome. And it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. I like seeing these actors and these characters too. But can you just look at what they did with them? Okay, they somehow butchered Sandman even more than he was before. The Lizard is ass still. The script is awful. The comic relief script that we have here, where everyone talks like they're in a Joss Whedon movie, where everyone's very jokey and funny in every single scene. Even freaking the Green Goblin is cracking jokes. Even Norman Osborn is like stealing like candy, putting it in his pocket. Bro, like Doc Ock is just cracking jokes as well. The Lizard has some funny one-liners. Everyone has one-liners, and it's annoying. It's not charming. It's really, really annoying after a while. And also, they do it in scenes that really needed to be a bit more serious. And because they do that so much, when there is a serious scene, like spoilers, by the way, huge spoilers, this entire review, when Aunt May dies like Uncle Ben, and they try to do the whole Uncle Ben thing, it has no weight. It has no emotion, because what led up to it was a jokey ass mess. There was no build up to this depth at all. We didn't develop MJ's character at all. Zendaya has nothing to work with in this movie. She is pretty much worthless this entire movie. Ned has a lot of screen time. Ned has more screen time than Willem Dafoe in this movie. And Ned is ass. Ned should have had like a cameo. They did the right thing with the comic relief for the rest of this movie. Like the funny teachers from the second movie, they have a short cameo. It's funny, and then you never see them again. Perfect. The news girl, works for J. Jonah Jameson. She gets a funny cameo, never see her again. Perfect. Ned should have been like that. And MJ, unless you're going to do something interesting with that character, just don't have her there. Or, they wanted to tease the whole Gwen Stacy falling thing. Fine, have her there. But do something with her. Do something that has some weight with her, or don't have her there. Oh, man, I wanted to like this movie. I wanted to love this movie, honestly. I was really looking forward to it. I thought it had the potential to be the best of these movies, and I just think it's the worst one of the Tom Holland trilogy, in my opinion. And Far From Home had some flaws, okay? Even Homecoming had some flaws, but Far From Home had the most flaws, to do with the villain reveal and stuff. I thought there was some corny parts in that. But overall, I think they did a good job to link it back and make it kind of a coherent kind of storyline. In this movie, I felt like they struggled a lot with the script. Maybe they rushed it a little bit because they didn't really know who was going to be available to be in this movie until later. And then they filmed some scenes later on. That's the feeling I get. They couldn't quite make a deal for like the Lizard and the other character and stuff. I don't know. That's just a feeling I get. So a lot of this movie kind of feels rushed to me. And this movie has horrible pacing. It's very, very fast. And then it's slow for a long time. And then very fast for a second. Then very slow again for a long time. And at the end, it's kind of a big mess. It's another kind of fight scene on a rooftop in New York in the dark. And there's like scaffolding. It's literally the end scene from Spider-Man 3, the worst movie, again. So if you want to see that again, if you want to see the worst parts of the old Spider-Man movies, like the worst part of Amazing Spider-Man, the worst part of Spider-Man 3, that ending fight sequence that was terrible, there it is again. So there you go. That's the big finish of this movie. And again, I know some people are going to be able to look past all this. Some people are going to be like, you know what? I just want to see Tobey Maguire and Drew Garfield and Tom Holland in a Spider-Man suit just fighting it out. I get that. That was cool. I agree with you. I just think this movie's not very good. And that's a shame, because had the movie been good, this would have been awesome. And it kind of evens out a little bit. Like, I think the movie's kind of weak, but the gimmick is so strong that I think it kind of evens out to a movie that's worth seeing. You know, I'm not gonna say don't watch this movie; it's horrible. No, it's worth seeing. It's worth seeing once and just being like, oh, that's kind of cool, I guess, and that's it. I don't think I'm probably gonna watch this movie maybe once more in my life. But I would just rather rewatch the original Spider-Man trilogy and the Andrew Garfield movies as well than sit through this movie again. I much prefer Homecoming. I much prefer Far From Home. This is kind of a slight step down in my opinion. Yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's just it didn't really do anything for me. It was average at best. Okay, average at best. I even thought that they didn't do much with J. Jonah Jameson, considering he was part of the big reveal at the end of the last movie. Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And then you don't even really see him in the movie. He's kind of there, but how easy to do and how funny would it have been if the other Jonah Jameson is also transferred to this universe, and then they fight it out. Like, they have a conversation, but it's not like they don't go and punch each other or anything. They have like an argument, like a vocal argument. They're fighting for like screen time or something in the show or whatever. I don't know. Or they're just kind of having an argument. How funny would it have been? Just put that wig on, that square wig on. J.K. Simmons, man, that's a missed opportunity right there. And also, I mean, you don't get to see MJ and stuff. And look, I know I'm not gonna complain that they didn't put enough in there. No, this movie has enough. I just wish that the script had been a lot less packed with comic relief, a lot tighter, a lot more fleshed out with some of the drama and some of the characters. I just wish that, characters didn't feel so out of character sometimes, cracking jokes and stuff when they really wouldn't do that. Like, you've got like characters like the Sandman, who I feel would be trying to escape from this cage that he's put in. But he's kind of chill with everything at the beginning. I don't know. This movie didn't really do it for me. It's my least favorite of the new Spider-Man movies. Yeah, I would recommend watching it once, but yeah, don't really believe the hype. It's not as strong as some people make it out to be. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys later.